Welcome back. In my introductory tale of the Squonk, I mentioned to you how this creature had never been captured. It had never been photographed or filmed, and how every attempt was left with nothing more than a large mysterious puddle. Well, if that is the case, then how does one go about drawing a squonk? How do you draw something that you yourself have never before seen? Well, for one, we have to rely on these folk tales. The actual meaning of folk tales is the folk, people, tell us about these creatures. So we take what they tell us and we base that on things we already know. So today's exercise is all about references. References are things that you look up and look at to help get a feel for something, to understand something. So let us think about what makes up a squonk. Okay? It is wrinkles, loose, wrinkly skin, right? Warts on this creature. This creature supposedly walks on all fours and is perhaps no bigger than a bear, maybe a little bit smaller. So think about those things and what kinds of creatures come to mind. Well, first, when you think about wrinkly skin, what comes to your mind right there? I'm not sure about you, but the first thing I think of is a hairless cat. Have you ever seen a hairless cat before? They're filled with wrinkles all over the face, everywhere. No hair, all wrinkles. So that was the first place I went. But the thing with the hairless cat is they look, the ones I've come across anyway, look a little on the angry side. But the squonk, as you well know, is a sad creature, constantly crying. So I also went to look for something with some sad eyes. So I went to a dog known as a Shar-Pei. Have you ever seen a Shar-Pei before? They're wrinkly and loose and kind of pudgy, and they have those just drooping, kind of sad looking eyes. So the basis for my squonk came from both of those creatures. So as I start to draw here, I'll ask, when you hear the description of the squonk, loose skin, wrinkles, all fours, what kinds of creatures do you think of? Hmm? Do you maybe think of a toad because of the warts? Maybe a pig? I actually, I'll be honest, I think a little bit of a pig's body when I picture a squonk. But at this moment, we're just going to concentrate on just getting those wrinkles right, figuring out that skin. So I started here with some really rough circles meant to be the head and the body. And I'm going to take those and sort of draw some wrinkles over top of those. So I'm going to add a little bit to the head, give it some shape. If you are following along at home, I recommend that you use either a highlighter or you can use something called a non-photo blue pencil, which is just really super light, or you can just use a basic regular pencil, like a number two pencil, if you wish to erase it right then and there. Just something that's very light and for you will not show up a whole lot. So create a basic sort of canvas on which to draw. And then I can take a different color. I'll go with this light green here and figure out some basic things to add on to this creature. So I'm going to find a place to put the eyes. You see, I put these little, for some reason I gave it this little droopy ears. I just think of this whole creature as being one big droopy sort of animal. So the eyes, I make real sort of sad and down, and then just start worrying about those wrinkles. I'm actually just going to go ahead and start going at the wrinkles. I just practice just the wrinkles themselves and see what we can get. So right on this forehead, I'm going to go ahead and draw right now to get these kind of worry lines. I am going to probably look at the hairless cat a little bit. I feel like the cat is probably a little more wrinkly than the Shar-Pei. So I use a little bit of both to come up with something that ultimately is neither, that is its own creature. Okay? So you just kind of practice drawing these lines. The thing about drawing wrinkles or any kind of lines is remember your line thickness. So when you're at the bottom of something, you go heavy. When you're at the top of something, you go light. Okay, like when you're rounding a corner. So you can give this creature these really heavy, super droopy eyes or eyebrows. Okay, and you keep that in mind as you fill out the face. There we go. Start light and then go heavy. Start light and then go heavy. Let me get a backup marker here. Always have extra markers handy in case one starts to go dry. Okay, so you just kind of look. Take no shame in having a photo in front of you of a cat or a dog or whatever inspires you to make your squonk, and just look at those lines. You can kind of transfer those lines onto the basic shape that you create. Okay? So, big cheeks. I give it these big, sort of droopy, pouty cheeks. And then I can go under the nose here and give it really thick lines for the nose, like that. And then, let's see. Darken those eyes a little bit. Then I'm going to go back here and give some kind of rolls to its back. Actually, let me fill in that ear so I don't forget the ear is there. How well do you think a squonk hears with those ears? Or do you think a squonk can hear very well at all over its own crying? I'm actually not even going to worry about arms and legs right now. I'm just focused on studying these sort of rolls, this loose skin. So don't even worry about limbs. Just worry about practicing this sort of loose, floppy skin. Okay? It's all about getting form and depth to make this creature sort of pop out at you as you draw. Okay? And then, so when you're filling in these lines, you go into crevices. You can make these little crevices kind of darker and then leave them light sort of at the top as they come out. So, and you can play around with the line thickness on these various wrinkles all around. And then pretty soon, this creature will start to look more and more lifelike, more and more thick and deep. Okay. And for some reason, I like giving this guy like a pig nose. Again, it goes back to like the pig form. But really just to give a place to darken, a place to kind of focus there. So here we go. Here we go. So just keep, and then you have sort of the big, sort of puffed out underneath the eyes there. This thing cries so very, very much. So just really work on that. How's that so far? And then darken the bottom. Like I said, always go for heavier lines on the bottom. That makes your creature look and feel heavier and thicker. You can have, since it has all these rolls, you can carry those thick lines up a little bit and taper them off. So then it looks like the rolls have a little bit of depth too, all of its wrinkles and whatnot. And you can add some warts, maybe some warts in the back here, some warts here, like that. I may have sort of forgotten about the warts a little bit ago, so like that. And you can darken one side, maybe the underside of those warts to make them pop out a little bit, like so. Okay. Keep going. And right now, it's all about feeling. Just stay loose, stay light, play around with your marker. It's actually good exercise to have your paper propped up like this and your arm extended. It's like a little art workout there. All right. So, yeah. So you see, as I darken these lines, the understructure here, the blue and the green and that kind of thing, they start to disappear. So they're really only there for you to put the wrinkles and the details over top of. They give you a place to start. Okay? So that is where those come from. And yeah, so keep working on your wrinkles, keep practicing. Next, on our next video, I'm going to show you in more detail the understructure of the Squonk, how to really make this thing move and pose and be exciting. I'm going to teach you just how important a simple stick figure can be. So stick around. Oh, and before I go, your drawing challenge for this week is to draw for me whichever animal you think is closest to the Squonk. Draw your favorite animal that you think could inspire your Squonk. So whether it's a type of dog or a cat or a toad or something else that I have not thought of, feel free to draw a picture of that and place it on the monster web. And I will see you next time. Stay monstrous. How?